The funny thing is, to enjoy a quality watch you'll have to pay like 4, 6, 10 times the price of a mass production watch just to obtain that 5% in quality. That's the way it is. Via trades, I managed to secure myself a GP Laureato chronograph. As you know, I'm into chronographs. This GP Laureato on the internet doesn't provide any hints or highlights of an outstanding watch, so I didn't know what to expect, but for sure I was expecting to receive a quality watch without any compromises. This is my statement I committed to. And while waiting for it, I was asking myself what attributes this watch needs to tick in order to convince me that this is truly a quality watch, that I'll enjoy it and appreciate it. And it's funny because I was pushed to make such a purchase because of the incapacity to find a decently sized chronograph with an integrated bracelet, if you can imagine. And because the Tissot PRX chronograph frustrated me in a ridiculous way, if you've seen the video, I started to look to reach higher levels quality-wise to experience and to understand what's a representative integrated bracelet watch and how it should truly feel and wear. So we can recall that the GP Laureato was a result of the wound created by the Tissot PRX chronograph. So what is a quality watch? I guess we can start with this question. I guess a quality watch can be as well a G-Shock. But if we look at the end-to-end spectrum, a quality watch, to be understood, felt and marketed accordingly, has to tick some specific boxes without compromises, in my opinion. Like no misaligned hands, no compromises on the height, no poorly designed clasps and so on. But let's understand the generic properties of a quality watch. I've built something, let's see if it fits. Brand-wise, a quality watch needs to be complemented by frequent positive opinions as well-crafted watches with the attention to the details with robust, accurate movements which lasted over time. That's how a solid brand which makes quality watches should be perceived. Girard-Perregaux currently as a brand, I think it is perceived somewhere above Rolex for sure, but down below the Holy Trinity, AP, Vacheron or Patek. There is also hate for the brand because they basically offer an expensive alternative to a Patek AP breeding. If you can still unsee it because you see an expensive AP Patek homage out of this Laureato, you'll have to know that this model is based on the first GP Laureato, which was introduced in 1975 as a quartz chronometer watch in a bicolor design, which isn't the opera of Gerald Genta. However, this simple design concept with a circle and an octagon within it was made 2 years after the Royal Oak release, but before the Ingenieur or before the Nautilus. So it was kind of an intruder between Gerald Genta's operas, but we need to bring this excuse in front to create more substance around the Laureato. Moving to the next point, a quality watch should own a well-developed movement. I wouldn't say necessarily an in-house movement, but it needs to be a solid known movement proven in time. As an example, an old-school Zenith caliber. The movement of this Laureato chronograph isn't that mentioned. I wonder why. Although we are talking about an in-house movement, a fully proprietary caliber developed by GP, the movement is based on the 3-hands version with a chronograph module on top. And here we can spot the alignment of the pushes, which are a bit offset compared to the crown of the watch, which sits a tad lower. So inside we have the super slim 4mm GP 03300 caliber, which reflects on the case height because although has a module on top, you can see that the case is very thin and well balanced against its diameter, which obviously ensures a better comfort and a better look. And here, compared to a mass production movement like the Tissot PRX chronograph, which hosts the Valjoux 7753, we can notice the movement has 8mm in height, and you can imagine that it's extremely tough to pull out a decently sized chronograph starting from a default of 8mm of the movement. And the result is the following. As a corporate watchmaker like Tissot, if you aren't into creating watches for the enjoyment of the people on the long term, people will probably move towards micro brands or more expensive brands that value their customers. Materials and finishing. Firstly, we'll have to address the stainless steel alloy. It's already known that the vast majority of the watch brands are relying on the classic 916 alloy, which is fair, it is reliable, anti-corrosive and so on. A premium 904 in exchange, it is advertised as being more durable but also brighter than the normal stainless steel in some cases. Like Seiko has the 904 Ever Brilliant concept or Chopard has the lucent steel. GP has a similar style which feels brighter and more reflective to the light, creating all sorts of interesting accents, but obviously that is due to the way the case is sculpted and accented. And if AP has a certain simplistic interlaced vertical brush and with highly polished accents, which is easy to understand, this Laureato has a refined horizontal brushing which transitions the light from the left to the right, where the bezel through its discrete pattern as well moves the light on a concentric way. The way the light plays with the surfaces creates an effect of a magnifier if you want, and it's a type of finishing which I've honestly never seen before in a watch. That's for sure an accent that surprises and elevates the quality of the watch for sure. In the world of watch connoisseurs, you'll have to know that a lot of people are collecting and looking for watches which are assembled manually only. And these people aren't too much into watches shaped by modern machining, considering that they don't have a soul. From my side, I've seen, owned and reviewed quite a lot of high-end watches, made by prestigious brands, and I was surprised to see for a lot of watches that the dial details aren't perfect. However, you can find something awesome. You can see that these are crafted manually and you can perceive the human limitations in crafting or perfecting microparts, which gives you a warm feeling knowing that someone really gave 100% to try to bring those elements to perfection. Where on the opposite side we can preview already mid-range watches perfected by the modern machining, which are closing the gap between the human labor and the time spent for details versus mass production watches made without any human inputs. This is actually an interesting topic to deep dive into. Staying on topic, the dial of this Laureato is almost perfect. I'd say almost because for my taste the dial pattern is too disruptive for the overall design. Also on the macro level, the Clou de Paris pattern feels laser engraved rather than having sharp facets made by the help of engraving. Also, lume-wise, after a specific price range, I think such brands don't have any excuses when it comes to offering a consistent lume throughout the markers, and hence it doesn't have to beat Seiko, but it needs to ensure a specific standard of a quality, in my opinion. Overall, I do appreciate the creative way of adding highly polished blued hands and markers which are changing their state based on the lighting conditions. They can be black on darker conditions, ensuring the right monochrome contrast, but they can also transform into electric blue elements when exposed to the light, matching quite nice the blue rubber strap combo. And last but not least, balancing a watch to be worn with ease. This is for sure a must. Because of the mass production brands which are relying on the automatic valve movements, they don't know or they don't care on how to optimize their cases in order to make the watches wearable for the people. I was explaining that the Tissot PRX chronograph is a beautiful design, it is well finished, it's nicely faceted, but poorly executed to be a chronograph. That's a fact. The case height is too tall, it's short and it's heavy, and in order to be sustained by a bracelet, it should have been done differently. The result, the watch head wobbles and puts a lot of pressure on the not so well designed clasp, so it will probably harm or irritate the skin. When it comes to wearability and how the watch is tailored, I think you'll receive more than 20% of the money paid for the watch, because the Laureato is a weighty watch as well, but the way the case is crafted and has the weight distribution with a better design clasp simply makes the watch way more comfortable and enjoyable. And that's what matters the most. A solid brand should create watches for the joy and the pride of wearability, with the aim to make the possessor to wear it more and enjoy it worry-free in any circumstances. And if this mindset can be only found after you exceed 10 grand in price range, it's just a shame. Also, I believe the provision of an extra strap like rubbers or leather straps for integrated bracelet watches matters. I find it crucial because such design works better in my opinion on straps which break that metallic flow rather than wear them only on fixed contexts. The conclusion is the following. Quality is an arbitrary term which is based on people's own opinion and experiences. I personally tried to create a standard for it which is mostly based on my experience as a watch enthusiast. But I think it should be cool to have a common sense of what quality should mean in general, to quickly identify a watch with substance with a timeless recognizable identity. So hope you enjoyed this episode. I personally did. For me it was quite a nice exercise to craft these points and kind of find them common sense for everyone. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm really curious to know what do you think about this GP Laureato and what is a quality watch in your opinion. Please let me know in the comments below. And as usual, if you're new around, please consider subscribing for future episodes. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching, and until next time. Be brave and stay safe, my friends.